really soon. This is going to be a tough one between Rogue Warriors and Victory 5 on the Rift for Game 1. I'm telling you, the Rogue Warriors manager, or whoever who's leading the chant, has a device. He's not doing it with his own voice alone.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit more fandom coming out there. Now, the second chant sounded like Wei Wu. That actually is V5 in Chinese. There's no V sound in Chinese, so they use Wei instead.
There we go, right onto the Rift. So no shenanigans in the early portions of the game. Level 1s are there, but taking a look at the lanes, and as you would expect, Windy picking up the Syndra right into the mid lane to at least bully up in the matchup. We're seeing Klepto for Kennen, who's in the top lane. Matchup should be able to proc it quite easily. Anything that, you know, scratches? Anything that you're interested in here?
They're pretty stock standard builds overall. What I would really point out in the early game is that we did see one ward being taken down by V5, so that does mean a faster level 2 in both of their solo lanes, which is quite impactful in terms of trading. That's going to give them a small window to extend those leads and continue to snowball those lanes. We can see it right here. Windy already getting a little bit of an HP advantage.
But also just take a look at the jungling there. It looks like it's going to be an early vertical jungling with Ben4 forcing it, looking to steal the blue buff, now coming back to the bottom side of the map. Something I didn't expect. I mean, coming into this game, would have expected both teams to try and just match each other, try and look for early fights, but you can already tell it's not within the interests of Rogue Warriors here.
Yep, and I have to give this vertical jungling advantage to V5. It's going to mean that Haro will find it very difficult to relieve the pressure in the bottom side of the map, while on the top side, Mole, with his level lead and his early range versus melee advantage, can still play very safe. Sylas doesn't have a great ganking option onto him, and with a low HP first clear, he can't really do much to that. So V5, with this vertical jungling, are winning out on both sides.
Take a look at the early mid lane wave. The positioning is actually heavily in favor of Windy. It's going to be a tough time for HuaTian. Just going to have to wait a little bit longer for the wave to bounce straight back to him. So whenever you see lane advantages like that, you really do go back to the whole discussion about, you know, Windy mastering the champion in this individual matchup. A lot of times people will just take this matchup and just try to hard shove in, try to get as much turret plating as possible, but HuaTian taking a bad side of the trade. Same with Mole up into the top lane. He may just die here, holding onto his flash a little bit longer. There we go. But it's tough here for Mole early on in this game.
Very unexpected for that to just happen. Now, I will know what happened.
No. Uh-oh. Still has E. Going to be able to get a hit and an early solo kill, please. There we go. Holder. It was tough, but he picks up the solo kill early on in this game.
Magnificent performance for Holder, but I have to point out, Mole really needed to dodge some of those hook shots. Didn't dodge out of a single one. That was 3 in a row we saw Holder being able to find. And he just goes down. Very unexpected. Definitely not supposed to happen.
And you can already see Haro just backing up HuaTian here with the wave finally crashing in. Windy's been putting in a lot of pain on HuaTian. In gank range here, Ben4 knows it. HuaTian also recognizes it and is just at least picking up some of the experience, but not getting anywhere near the wave.
That was a good move on Ben4, just getting the most out of that trade advantage in the mid lane. I did want to point out something about the topside trades, is that the shield bash actually procced multiple times with the adaptive shield on Camille. So very interesting type of build, maximizing his runes for that first blood.
Yeah, put in a lot of work on that one. Of course, a little bit of a mistake from Mole to be that near the wall to begin with, but
you can tell he's the native mid laner.
Yeah, exactly.
Just started playing top lane when he started to sub in for EDG. Before that, he was purely a mid laner.
Take a look at this early invade. He's going to get collapsed on, but should be able to get out. Has to be able to dodge this. That one was easy. But he gets out scot-free. Challenges when HuaTian is pushing in. So already this early game has been pretty good for Rogue Warriors, mostly because of Holder.
And as Holder goes, so does Rogue Warrior. He's the one that really is taking most of the early pressure and keeping the team in the game for most of the part of the game, for the most of the mid and early parts of the game. So we've been seeing a lot of attention onto Holder, Haro hovering around his lane constantly, and the enemy jungler does that as well.
Early skirmishing here. Might be able to get an all-in. Windy level 6. One more Q and he will get the kill. Boom. Flash comes through from HuaTian. Just escapes it. He's keeping up in CS, but man, you're right. Like, Windy is really getting a hand of this lane.
Yep, and Windy is the one that traditionally played for the top side. He was actually the substitute for RNG for a while during their 2017 run. So this guy, learning new things as he goes on. He's been playing professionally for 4 years now, but it's never too late to pick up a new role.
I just love the confidence, ultimately, especially when you just bring in a rookie lineup. Sure, Y4 and Ben4, the veterans just holding it down. But the fact that the new players are able to come in, with Coach Hanyi involved as well, able to make a lot of action so far in this split, picking up that upset on Invictus Gaming and the skirmishing style that they had. I mean, props to the team, and especially Windy to be able to come in under the circumstances and perform the way he is. Yeah,
Rogue Warriors revitalizing themselves is something that I think a lot of people are interested in how it develops, and a big part of it was because of the transfer fee that RNG gave them for Stake, the coach.
That's true.
That's we recently read in the esports news that the transfer fee alone was 10 million RMB. Gave them a lot of ammunition to then go out and find good players to fill out the roster.
There we go. I guess they're making it worthwhile on that one. I mean, taking a look at Rogue Warriors, who, Coach Maokai, he's been around for quite some time too. He's been with EDG, LDL teams as well, finding himself a head coaching position alongside Rogue Warriors, and there's a lot of expectations, especially with, you have Haro, Holder involved. They've made that rebuilding strategy with the team, and they've been performing pretty well now that they've gone through that tough early portions of the schedule. What's your expectation with them coming on in the split?
They're currently hovering around 11th place, and I thought that they were going to be very close to the 9th and 10th place. So yes. I would say straight about on expectations for me. Now, the only thing holding them back, despite their roster talent, would have actually been just they're a new team and they haven't really had that synergy together. So I don't think they're a strong candidate for playoffs, but they're going to be very, very close. Now, I have to take a look at the map situation right now, and I have to say it heavily favors V5. Skank doesn't go in. Ben4 does have the flash, doesn't use it there.
Not much should come about this, but Ben4 is willingly picking up this fight. May regret it very soon, but there we go. He dies. Holder is fairly close to death himself, but Windy won't be able to take much of an opportunity. In fact, he is close to death himself. He dies! Double kill going over to Corki. Oh no, how much damage is Lux going to be able to do here? At least avenges his brother, but that's going to be heavily in favor of Rogue Warriors just because Rek'Sai ended up picking up that fight.
V5 didn't even expect that. They thought they were going to be fine, but great damage calculations on Holder. There was no level 6 on Ben4 just yet, so he couldn't use the Void Rush to avoid the damage and then lock down the kill. That was very unexpected, and Holder is showing his carry potential on these bruisers.
I mean, taking a good grasp of the game, because you said that Victory 5 were looking good just based off the laning phase themselves. They had the gold lead. I mean, heavily, top lane is in favor of the Kennen, just based off that 20 CS margin. But then this fight happens. Run it down for me.
So this fight, V5 thought that they would have an easy way in. You have to remember there's a flash advantage over HuaTian, but once Holder comes in, they back out. Ben4 goes a little bit too far forward, thinking that it's okay to stay in the fight, but Holder has the damage calculations far better than Ben4 the jungler. That was really well done on his part, and you could see that this is just a situation where the damage calculations were spot on for Holder, a little bit off for Ben4.
Yeah, Holder already doing a great job so far for the team, able to evade that gank as well, so a little bit of time wasted from Ben4. Just think about it, that early gank sure didn't really pan out for Victory 5 initially, but the fact that Holder just roamed straight towards the mid lane and was able to, initially just back up HuaTian, but eventually turn that into an advantage themselves. Pretty spot-on play from him.
And I have to say I'm super impressed because there was no jungle pressure involved in these plays. All 3 kills coming from Camille, basically making it work by herself. We were talking about Haro plus Holder being the most important part. But this game around, Holder himself just being able to hold the fort down.
Yeah, and just to clarify for everybody out there, even though Rogue Warriors are doing quite well with a lot of these skirmishes, the small ones, they're still in a gold deficit, just based off of every single lane. The Syndra lane's going incredibly well for her. Top lane's been the same case. And then the bottom side of the map, the silent one between Max and Y4, have themselves at least a pretty decent lead. The wave is going to be picked up by the Caitlyn, so it's going to be at about 8 CS lead that they have just based off the CS there. Here we go, though.
At least they have another 320 gold in the bank just due to the turret plating lead. This is to be expected of the bottom side of the map. Now V5 find themselves in a difficult position. Abyssal Voyage is up. I don't think Ben 4 can continue here. Yeah,
they're going to have to forego this one. In fact, Rift Herald, you can already see the support roaming up. I think Rogue Warriors are in a pretty good position to start that one up themselves, but Holder gets opened up on. Kennen ultimate to also just pile up on top of him. How much time could he actually spare? Goes in, but he ends up dying. Killua tries to slow on just to see if they can pick up the fight. Ben 4 really low,
ooh,
but I think they're going to be able to get out. You're right, just one more, able to duck and dodge right behind Mole. Fight turns once again as Windy finds him in the flank, but who's getting flanked here really? This is turning out to be a pretty messy fight. Windy ends up dying. Mole also dies on the back end of that one. Real confusion on the side of Victory 5.
Everyone piling in, but the key factor right there was Max was just 2 seconds off the mark. Doesn't actually land any abilities, and we see the double kill going over to HuaTian. Now, talking about the 4-1 composition, they no longer need the Camille to go and be the one on the side lane split pushing. Actually, the Corki will serve the same purpose, and he's already got the Triforce done.
All of those kills going on top of HuaTian, as you've mentioned. Really starting to give Rogue Warriors that lead. I mean, they've been getting a lot of kills regardless, but finally being able to get themselves out of what was a poor laning phase situation. You can see HuaTian picking up that turret plating gold. That is a fat Corki.
That's a very fat Corki, and I think it's a little unfortunate for V5. That was a fight that actually they didn't need to go all in for. Y4 was left alone with the tower during that duration, so you know, just letting things get to their head and wanting to play that early aggressive style that they're so well known for, but does end up costing them quite a bit. I actually think Rogue Warriors has reversed the situation, and now they're going to be the ones to be proactively swapping towards the top side.
Ooh, let's see if they can pick up. They should be able to pick up this tower quite easily, but it's going to be a trade. Victory 5 ends up picking up that bot lane tower, but losing the Rift Herald. Now for Haro, there should be a pretty big gold dump here for Rogue Warriors.
I will say that this is really well done by Rogue Warriors.
No.
They will lose the bottom side, but you know what? They don't lose any tempo whatsoever. In fact, they're in the tempo lead. They already have the transition complete where HuaTian is in the side lane. No one can contest a 4-1-0 Corki, and they also equalize the tower. So I think Rogue Warriors are in a great spot.
Yeah, you know what? Shame on Haro there. Getting close to the turret. Give that full turret plating gold to the Corki. He's already big. Just let him have it all.
And Ben will find anything.
No. All right, so to at least be able to push that one off in Victory 5. They seem a little bit desperate here. We're able to pick up that bot lane tower, but rotating it to the mid lane. Easy wave clear from Rogue Warriors, putting themselves back in a good position.
If they have a good siege composition, but they don't have side lane control against either the Camille or the Corki at this point. So they're going to have to use their moments really well to set up these sieges. They need to use the time where Camille is still on her side of the river, or Corki is still on his side of the river, where they can really push up and get that chip damage down. Once Camille and Corki can get the minion waves and escort that over to V5's side, then V5 suddenly have to split up and deal with all the mounting pressure.
Yeah, this is going to be a hard one for V5. I mean, it really does depend on if Rogue Warriors can get the split push going, or at least just any side lane pressure. A lot of times you see these games and you say, this is what they should do, Clement. No. Please, por favor, HuaTian, put yourself on the bottom side of the map. But it doesn't end up turning out that way. A lot of teams just feel like, oh, I have a great advantage. Why don't I join the fight? But take a look at the turret plating gold. 240 going on top of Corki when he already had the kill gold to his name. Getting spread out quite frequently. But you know what? Y4 picked up a huge chunk himself. 640 gold going into his pocket. Net him that Infinity Edge. Take a look at HuaTian. He wants this fight. Okay, please. What are you doing there? He gets blown up by Mole. You're getting a little bit too greedy there.
And that was a massive gold advantage.
Oh, what do you think you're doing, buddy? Wow. I have Gunblade. How about you get a hell away from me? Double kill going over to the Kennen.
Oh my god, Mole! That was absolutely insane. That was 4 kills onto the Corki against 0 kills on the Kennen. They overstepped big time. They not only lose those 2 kills, bounty gold, and the top lane tower. Suddenly V5 are back in this game. And I have to say, that wasn't even that much of an outplay. Look at Mole. He's just looks puzzled.
Yeah.
He's like, what happened there?
I'm going to be honest, this is why the teams are in the position outside of the playoffs, because this is just skipping steps.
Okay, stop there. Stop there. Like,
don't do it.
Why go this way? What was that?
But ordinarily, you would see teams set up for a dive like this because this is Mole being on the weak side. You would send the support over, push in the wave. They just skipped a lot of steps, and it gave them a lot of deaths. You know?
Yeah.
They're not looking too good. A lot of black eyes.
And I have to say, Mole also was really lucky on that one. He had a charged up shuriken in his hand, so instant stun onto Haro as he comes into turret range. The Sylas didn't expect that one.
And remember, press tab, he has Gunblade too, so the sustain is there if he is in a long enough fight. So, 2 kills going over to a Kennen in a situation where Rogue Warriors were starting to run away with that lead. At least they picked themselves up the Ocean Dragon, but it really puts you back, take a step back, and take a look at Victory 5's composition. Now the Kennen seemingly online. How do you feel about their current position in this game?
That was just so critical because that means Kennen can now split push against Camille. He has an even chance against the Corki because of that massive bounty. So it changes the way the side lane dynamics work. Rogue Warriors are no longer going to be able to just freely push out the side lanes, and this will give V5 more opportunities as a group. Now, if you look at their mid lane, that one's still up. They still need it.
Here comes that 1v1 that you were referring to. Holder taking a lot of damage. You should be able to get out of that one, but that just pushes him out. Mole is hunting, though, just at least scaring him off. Don't come back to this lane again.
Yeah, does still have the flash on Holder, so he's completely safe in that one. But we have to remember, key thing here is that the Kennen can now rotate towards the mid lane. They really want that mid lane turret. There are a early tempo and sieging type of a team composition. They do need to get these leads.
So let's take stock of it. I mean, Max earlier on in this game was able to kill Corki based off his Lux binding. Really is a core of what this composition really is about. Good pick in their comp. I mean, Caitlyn already has her Infinity Edge and is already working towards her next BF item. So you'd expect it to be the Essence Reaver. We saw LWX earlier on actually go towards the full damage build. And Max getting caught out there. Has to flash over the wall. Don't want to see that happening.
Yeah, a bit perplexing from V5, to be honest. Rogue Warrior members were actually in full vision. Just walked past the traps, in fact, but taking the wrong path there does cost him a flash. And that's actually quite critical. That means the chances for a siege to succeed for V5 have actually gone down quite drastically. Now going back to the builds, we've seen in solo queue that still the main item is going to be IE and double crit, but I really like the double AD item in Y4 where he's going for the Infinity Edge into the Essence Reaver. I actually talked to Frostkern about this a little bit, and she thinks that with so much mobility in the game, you just don't have enough time to get that many auto attacks down. Stronger AD is now a better option compared to the multiple hits that you're going to get with the cricket attack speed build.
Let's see if she ends up. It's already packing a punch with her ultimate as well, so you can already see earlier on the damage that it was starting to pile onto Haro. It's a nice adaptation to some of the builds. You can already see her going towards the dagger, so we'll see where that ends up evolving into. But taking stock of the game, you already mentioned the items themselves and the composition. The poke and siege composition Victory 5 continuously aim for. It's pretty much handled by Rogue Warriors. You know, hard engage that you were able to see, not just from the Sylas alone, if you can ever find an ultimate pickup by Kennen, but mostly based off of Holder's Camille. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works. Doesn't have a stopwatch of his own, but he's going to have to watch out here. Ben4 and Mole looming over this lane and already starting to go for his edge.
Right. Yep, Holder definitely saw that ward.
That's a lot
clear,
of people.
So he's going to be fine.
That's a ton of people looking to protect Holder in that lane. And they're just going to be heading straight back to the mid lane. Nice dodge from Max. You know, ducking away from that ultimate there from Haro.
Rogue Warriors still in a fine spot. If you ask me which team is being put on a timer, I would still say V5's composition doesn't do as well in towards the late game. No real front line to speak of. A lot of squishy targets against Sylas and Camille who can lock you down for sure.
Yep.
So V5 are a little bit pressed here, and finally they're going to make the move onto the mid lane. This is great timing by them. All 5 members heading towards them.
It's going to be interesting to see if they change their minds on this one, simply because Mountain Dragon coming up in just 58 seconds. Remember, double Dragon coming in from Rogue Warriors already, the Infernal and the Ocean Dragon. Stacking up Dragons makes it hard to be able to deal with that Elder later on in the game, so you can already see a shift in mentality. Victory 5 moving away from the lanes themselves and want to be able to prep for that Dragon.
Yep, Rogue Warriors defended that very well in towards the mid lane. It's just a wave clear of Ezreal once he gets that Iceborne Gauntlet going. No real damage being put onto Rogue Warriors' turrets here. And I think in the next team fight, what we have to pay it close attention to is those crucial skill shots from Max and also the flash coming in from Ben 4. They have a lot of poke damage, a lot of one-shot potential on V5's composition, but they do need to utilize that with landed skill shots.
Yeah, you're right about the difficulty that Victory 5 has in being able to take this mid lane turret down. You know, a lot of the times it just comes down to experience. Whenever you have both side lane turrets down, should be able to get some heavy vision control on either side of the map, to be fair, but we're not really seeing that from Victory 5. It seems like, you know, vision control isn't a strength of theirs. With how well Max is playing, they are a team that is heavily focusing on just the outplay potential, the team fight potential, rather than just the raw strategy of the game.
You gotta love that corridor being set up by Y4 here. All 4 traps in the same location. Rogue Warriors actually can do a good flanking maneuver here. Holder is sneaking in unspotted.
There is a Ghost Ward. She will be able to catch him. Wow, assassination on ZWuJi. There's no way Rogue Warriors are going to take this fight now. Didn't get to be able to see it. It was in the northern quadrant of the map. So down goes Ezreal. I think he was trying to move over after clearing through mid and just gets slammed by Mole.
I don't blame our observers there. That was a very quick kill. You can see the double penetration already done for the Kennen, and that was absolutely massive. Giving the Mountain Drake over to this composition gives the Siege so much more power, opens up the mid lane as well.
Oh, here we go. Once again, Kennen about to ensure his wrath. Nice stun on top of Holder. Holder's going to be able to get out of there. There are 2 incredibly strong members on the map. Not only is it the Corki earlier on, but there we go. Mole eviscerates the Ezreal.
And it was such a good prediction. Mole actually did not have vision as he crossed over the bend, but he predicted where he would be, and that's why he was able to land the E and stun in such a quick succession. That was really, really smart. You have to remember, once ZWuJi took down those minions, he was out of vision.
Yeah, I mean, Mole has just been a great playmaker for the team. Since coming in from BLG, he's been putting in a lot of great work. Multiple champions. I know there's a lot of respect over to his LeBlanc. A lot of the Assassins of Rise has been a great one for him too. Maybe able to click it up later on, but Holder just cannot touch this lane. Whenever he gets to the medium point of the lane, there's just 2 people meeting him. So it's tough to ever get this Camille really picking up from the ground. So here we go. I mean, this is a game. Feels like it's up in the air with both Corki and the Kennen on top of the world.
Yeah, V5 don't really have enough of a lead to write home about. That Drake was incredibly important, and they still have a lot of pick potential. So what I think they will transition into is just setting up vision around the Baron and hoping that they can find someone with Max. On the meantime, Rogue Warriors are going to play with their cards very, very safely. They have the Tahm, Kench, and the Ezreal to check rushes as well. So I don't think Rogue Warriors are going to be caught here. But if V5, well, V5 are still going to set up for the same play. That's what I wanted to say.
This is my favorite part of the game, whenever it comes down to the Baron dance, but you know for certain the team that's setting up for the Baron dance is very bad when it comes to vision control. There is a ward in the pit, but they're still essentially hunting for a pick, and Rogue Warriors are not biting.
It's going to be incredibly difficult to look for this Baron. I think V5 are still doing it because they want to draw Holder away from keeping to farm these side lanes and continue to scale up where he will be able to take down the Kennen. So I understand why they're doing this, but currently Rogue Warriors, they just have too many poke tools to avoid being caught in this Baron trap. I'd be very surprised if Rogue Warriors find themselves actually caught up by a light binding and it results in a death.
Speaking of poke tools, it seems like Rogue Warrior's composition is incredibly AP heavy. Not only are we looking towards the Corki, the Sylas, but you're also seeing that Gunblade coming in from the Ezreal as well. So AP heavy composition coming in from Rogue Warriors, incredibly poke heavy. Wonder how the itemizing is going to be coming in from Rek'Sai as well, because for the rest of the team, they can't do too much about it.
Nope.
You're Kennen, Syndra, I mean, like across the board, you're all dealing damage, and it's going to be awkward to find any, maybe a Banshee's Veil actually from Windy, that can do it for you. But other than that, they're going to be at the whims of the poke coming in from Rogue Warriors.
This is going to be far more of a knife fight before the Zhonya's come out. Both teams are very heavily sectioned towards just outright damage, blow your composition up type of team compositions, type of comps. So I think it's mainly going to come down to flanks and catches like this one.
Let's see if the hook shot's going to be able to actually get canceled out. Couldn't even complete it. Holder is just dead before he even has a chance to react.
And that was 4 tries in a row, but Mo finally found his kill. He's going to be able to keep this Camille down even longer. And they have to be very careful. There is a ward in the red pit where Holder could potentially find an engage here. That one isn't spotted out by the Rogue Warriors control ward, so if they move in and try to do a Baron contest right now, they could very well goad Rogue Warriors into a trap. You can see it. They're pinging it out right now.
But take a look at this. 30 seconds until the Infernal Dragon comes up. Victory 5 while they're clearing out the Baron. I'm pretty damn sure they're going to be moving to the Dragon itself. It's going to be on Rogue Warriors to fight that back without a top laner. At least is going to be coming up now with teleport available. Really, confused that Victory 5, really went heavy towards the Baron clear when they really needed to be bot side towards Dragon itself. Rogue Warriors already in the area now.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to goad Rogue Warriors to see if they could get a catch somewhere, but Rogue Warriors didn't bite. Very good decision making on their part. They evade that one. And now I actually think Rogue Warriors have the advantage with Kennen without ultimate, so Rogue Warriors need to push this super hard.
That's just sad. The fact that they were able to get a pick, but lost out in the initial objective because they went topside, Clement. How is that ever acceptable? Like, seriously.
I think it made sense.
No!
It made sense, and they were trying to make a pick. That's how V5 thinks.
You
got to pick something.
It's a good bait. It's a great worm, an Infernal Dragon, and now Rogue Warriors have 2 of them.
Yeah, that's, V5 really aren't looking towards the late game. It's fine.
We see the animations. They certainly don't. They're on Baron buff. So you're talking about the fact that they were clearing towards it. This is what they were now baiting for. It's getting pretty low now. I wonder how Rogue Warriors are going to be able to deal with this. They're in a great range to be able to take this fight with how low Ben 4 actually is. So Victory 5, they got to make a decision now if they were going to be able to take this or not.
And I love what Haro's doing here. He's actually keeping the Baron alive, keeping that MR stack on, so when HuaTian comes in, he can blow up the entire team. V5 have to back up. This seems like the 50-50 Baron V5 that we've gotten used to in the spring split so far.
Pure confusion coming across the Victory 5. Not only did they get that kill, which is great. I mean, Ben 4 has been relentless in the early game to put Holder down, and Kennen has been great at being able to attain his own leads. But now it seems like being able to nail that on an advantage, which is that's a problem that we've seen from a lot of new teams, right? A lot of new teams come in. I remember 2018 Suning as well, when Knight first came in alongside Hacker and everything, and I was like, this is a great team. They're all incredibly talented. But when they have this incredible early game lead, it starts to simmer. Clement, what do you want to see from Rogue Warriors point for point? Because from Victory 5, that is point for point, because currently they're not seeing it themselves.
I think V5 need to get a fight going in as soon as possible. The one-shot potential goes steadily down as you continue on into the game. And Rek'Sai is a champion that, just doesn't get better with time.
Yep.
So what I do want to see V5 here is that with their advantage still in the side lane, with Mole and Ben 4, I think they need to do more invades and just force the skirmishes hard. If you're not going to contest this jungle, then we're going to take away your resources. They have to be the ones on the front foot.
They're certainly trying as much as they can. A pick onto Windy, a lot of damage onto him. They should be able to pick up this kill. Down he goes. Wait a minute, that's a bottom lane, in fact.
Yeah.
Ben 4 gets the kill on top of Holder. while Victory 5 get out of that one scot-free.
Yeah, top lane was all a ruse for them. A good flash from Windy to take him out of the rocket range, and they find another kill on to Holder. This is going to give them the man advantage to fight. Wow!
Okay! Mole just drops him down. Another kill to Victory 5, and guess what? They're back on Baron.
Oh my god, Mole is such a prophet. That was so smart. Once again, we're seeing Mole read the path that Rogue Warriors will take. That was completely blind. He just anticipated that.
Okay, well, he goes golden. He might die here, but you're right. He's prophet. Moles is for a reason. They're going to be able to still get Baron buff here. They just need to find an exit strategy. No turret behind him. Another kill to Corki. He may be able to get a pentakill. Let's see if he can pick it up for himself. A teleport just to be able to round them all up. Ben4 is really low. I see the positioning. Ben4 should die just here. That's, oh no, Ezreal, please, just give him the triple.
And Ezreal's going to get the slow as well.
Oh, he's down too. But this should be a clean sweep. There's no way Victory 5 should be able to come out of this one free. That's a triple kill going over to ZWuJi. This is a really confusing game. The Baron buff have just been cleaned up.
You just can't get away from Iceborne Gauntlet Ezreal. It's too damn hard. And with that cleanup, I actually think Rogue Warriors erased all of those further plays. There's no Baron buff to stop the side lane split pushing, and ZWuJi is fed off his mind.
So you were right about one thing, which was Victory 5 definitely needed to find that fight. Like, the fight was something they were hoping for and constantly found. Being able to pick up not just the person in the mid lane, but also Holder in the bot side of the map, like, that's already a miracle play when they hadn't had the vision control set down. But then it came down to this Baron fight. In fact, we're going to be taking a look at how Holder died. Oh, of course. They just can't stop. Every single time they see him, right on top of him.
I've got to say, if V5 win this game, Mole has to be the MVP.
Oh.
There's so many path predictions here. Look, there's no brush in that ward. He's just waiting for someone to come around. He knows it's a Kennen minion wave. Someone's going to greed for that 96 gold and come around the corner, and he did find them. Now, my issue with this play here is if you see this, I actually think V5 hesitated. What they should have done was straight finish Baron and run for the hills. It's too late saving Mole. Mole is dying for your sins. Don't go back and make his death in vain. That was a wrong call on their part. Windy should have left Kennen to die. The Zanyas was enough time to buy them the Baron and a safe retreat, but instead they get completely aced. That was sweet though.
That was pretty damn good. I mean, those moments really define you as a team. Whenever you have those split-second decision, if you guys can just turn on a dime like that. Now, of course, you're right. Mole ended up dying pretty quickly, but they were split. Some people were fighting, some people were trying to finish up Baron, and that ultimately costed them. Now we're back at square even, it would look like. But at the end of the day, Rogue Warriors are the one with 4 dragons to their name.
And some would call it square one. Yeah, but taking a look at the situation, we do see that Rogue Warriors still having a very good small lead, and the most important thing I want to check up is that bottom lane matchup between Mole and Holder. How is this one going to go now that we see the completed item of the Maul of Malmortius done onto Camille? That's going to give her a lot of sustain when she's low HP as well, and she does have the dragon to live through the poke that Mole can't put on her. It does seem like V5 has already used up all of their early game potential.
Yeah, that was your concern coming into this game, was the Rogue Warriors, composition scaling up, and they're already getting to their item break points. Look towards Corki. He also has a Maul Malmortius to his name. He has Rapid Fire Cannon, Infinity Edge, Trinity Force. He has everything that he really needs to be able to go for these fights. You saw the damage he was able to apply in that last fight, but I'm going to really get you to focus towards ZWuJi's build as well. I mean, he is nearly completed on his build.
This is the perfect build when you're going up against a team like V5. Unfortunately, we will have a pause.
I mean, if I say for Victory 5, fortunate for them, they need to take a step back and think about this, because this game has gotten real complicated real quickly.
Yeah, there's no tanks on V5's end, so you don't need Blade of the Ruined King, just straight AP and burst potential after that. We saw how much damage a single QW could do towards the members like Windy in the mid lane. Syndra can't take the damage being dealt there. And this is a good chance for V5 to really reflect and see what opportunities they still have. What I was thinking in my mind is they still have a lot of burst potential. The flanking an instant stun coming in from Mole,
That's
just the headshot potential coming in from Caitlyn, paired up with the synergies in the crowd controls on Syndra and Rek'Sai. This is a composition that even when you're so far behind, you still have a lot of chances to completely destroy someone in a blink of an eye. And how I think V5 should do this is they should push the wave in the bottom super hard. Once Camille is there, they do a full-on engage into the 4-man in the mid lane. I think that's their best way for victory, but they do need to set it up first.
Yeah, flank wards are what you need here, especially when your golden ticket is Mole on Kennen. He has been that MVP for his team, and it'd be a shame for him to be able to take a loss in a game that he's really performed stellar on.
With the sustain and damage coming in from Ezreal, they need to shut down ZWuJi as soon as the fight starts. That's how they won their only dragon joust so far. Mo predicting the path that the players would take and sniping him out. If you think about ZWuJi's full build, it's going to be the sustain from Gunblade, and then he's also going to finish up with most likely a Mercurial Scimitar. And by then, I think it would be a little bit too late for V5 to really get those opportunities to shut down the 4-man.
Yeah, a lot of the times we also end up focusing towards some of the simple pick potential points of the team. Like, in the past you'd see a Gragas, you just look towards the Gragas cask or a Lee Sin kick. This time around you'd see the Syndra and Lux. Really good pick potential that you're able to have for yourself if you are able to nail down an Ezreal or a Corki. So that's something that Victory 5 have going for themselves, but that's a lot of ifs. Really, if you look towards Rogue Warriors, they don't have to be grouped up whatsoever. To your point, you see Camille in the bot side of the map, all in, but how viable is that kind of strategy?
The viability is low, but it's pretty much your only strategy.
Yeah, it's the only thing they got. It's the only thing they got.
You got to go for your highest percentage play, and that has to be it. Even if you give up a tower in the bot lane, it's completely fine. You need that game-winning team fight. Hopefully you could time it up with Baron, get a roll on that one as well. So that's the sweet game plan for Victory 5. But for World Warriors, just keep safe, keep your flanks warded at all times, keep your back warded even. Make sure that Mole can't find that pick onto the likes of ZWuJi, and you should have smooth sailing from this point on.
All right. Of course, apologies to everybody. You do have a pause here. It does appear to be an error on the side of Rogue Warriors. Just make sure. Did see a hand signal there, so it seems like we should be able to get back in fairly soon. But I mean, we get to a point right now where Victory 5, it feels like they're powering up individually. Just talking about the individual players, Mole is always looking pretty strong. You look towards Windy, he's had his strong points. Who are we looking towards on Victory 5? Do you think it's more of a team effort? Do you think some individuals need to just play better? Because they're pretty close to getting into a playoff position. They're making a fight where really everybody, including myself, counted them out.
I gotta say, V5 individually deserve to be in playoffs. The level of talent that they have actually surprised a lot of us with how well Windy would be, how well Mole would be. But their mid-game decision-making is something that I feel is quite lacking. When we talked about them having the most kills in a game in the entirety of the LPL, the fact is that they actually die more than they get the kills themselves. So a lot of the teamfight decision-making hasn't been really that honed in, and you can see them fall behind in those mid-game skirmishes. Like this game as well, around the Herald, where they had such massive leads in terms of the turret plating. They threw that away and gave HuaTian that 4-kill lead early to start the game.
Yeah.
So I think it's just down to the early skirmishes that they really need to hone on now, and that's always a tough task for new teams.
We're back into the game, everybody. It was ZWuJi reporting just an in-game issue, but it seems like it's resolved now. Just want to be able to get everything right. Remember, they're the ones trying to push for the win here in a really good position for themselves. Top lane wave looks great. Camille continuously pressuring on the bottom side of the map. Something needs to be done on the side of Victory 5.
And Uji's playing confident. I just looked at his build, and he's not going to go for a Mercurial Scimitar and protect himself. Looks like he's actually going to continue to go for magic penetration and just kill someone. Thinking the Killua is enough to get him out of trouble. So this is an interesting one to keep check on how they play out. We were talking about the win conditions for V5, and this is pretty much very close to being where they should pull the trigger. You can see Mole right now staying out of vision for the most part and threatening with that teleport.
that Elder Dragon is coming up in 2 minutes time too. So really, if you're Rogue Warriors, you can do anything you want. You can play it safe, hold on. It's not as if, you know, Baron is going to be coming up at the same time for you. You can really just take your time on this one. It really is dependent on how Rogue Warriors are feeling about this. Right now, you can already tell. Yeah, emote's up. ZWuJi's not taking any bit of damage on the side of Y4, so it's going to be even hard for Victory 5 to take this fight if Kennen doesn't get that perfect flank.
And Rogue Warriors can also play the poke war as well. They do have the Ocean Drake behind them, so if it does come out to a straight siege, they have the advantage in that one. I want to see how Holder actually plays it. So what he could do if he wanted to play it really, really safe, just push the waves and group with the rest of the team, see if he can actually be the one that catches out the enemy. And this looks like what he's doing right now.
Already looking to find themselves positioned, clearing out the Baron area. It's going to be coming up very soon as well. It's just interesting. It's great to be able to see both the Baron buff and the Elder Dragon coming up, not at the same time. So, you know, Victory 5 doesn't really have that much of an opening unless if they can stall Rogue Warriors out just a little bit. In fact, they're getting into position early. This may be in vision, but what choice do they have?
There's no teleport on Holder.
All right, he's going to have to make the long haul. You can already see him in the minimap making the run over, but a lot of damage from the Baron already being put on towards Victory 5.
Oh, that was such good poke by ZWuJi. What B5 wanted there was a full 5-man engage when they had the numbers advantage, and a good bet on their part because Holder didn't have his TP for that play, but Rogue Warriors didn't bite. They used their poke wisely and waited out the situation. Now they get a turret, and they're going to wrestle back Baron.
Ooh, how frustrating is this? You're talking about the poke that ZWuJi was outputting, already just essentially wiped Windy away from the area. Rogue Warriors gain control of Baron, that is, and now can look towards bottom side as well. Already has huge stranglehold of the map here against Victory 5.
Yeah, I like what the chances V5s are taking. They're really finding those slimmers of opportunities where they can cash out on, but Rogue Warriors are playing super safe, and excuse my itemization knowledge, but Ezreal going for the Banshee, so indeed finishing off the build with something safe.
All right, there we go. We already talked about the fact that it's incredibly safe, so the Syndra is going to have a lot of difficulties. Same goes towards Lux, so a lot of, you know, they already had a heads-up plan how to deal with the poke and pick that Victory 5 has. Getting a great push on mid lane as well, just getting to see if they can get a pick on towards Ben 4. Oh my God, he took a great error there. He didn't want to take that tunnel, probably didn't even think that it existed. That's going to cost them dearly. No, he's going to be able to survive this one, but this is a free Baron or Rogue Warriors. I mean, he can't get anywhere near the pit.
Yeah, that was a clear mistake coming in from Ben 4, and it will cost him quite dearly, like you were talking about. The GA is not going to be there, and that means in the Baron pit, he's so vulnerable.
That is destructive. That's what AP Ezreal can do for you. A lot of damage just sweeping through 3 members and a pretty free Baron that Rogue Warriors are going to have. Elder Dragon is up, so you can see Victory 5 starting to put a lot of attention to it. That's a 1v1 happening here. Ben 4 should not be able to take this fight, and if he dies here, so goes the chances of being able to pick up a Elder Dragon. They're going to chase him down. In fact, they're splitting focus. They're already pretty close to being able to take this, and I don't think Rogue Warriors essentially want this fight. No vision in the area. Holder is still in no man's land.
Uh-oh, Holder's going to pay so heavily for this one.
You're right about them sticking mid lane. Corki is actually being able to take this mid lane inhibitor turret while Holder is buying time. So if we're talking about worth, it's a lot of worth here. Even stops the back. At the same time, no one is stopping them from taking this inhibitor.
Can the Ezreal ult actually land? Only finds one target.
But the job is already done. The goal is achieved. Not only did they pick up a Baron buff, but they took the inhibitor mid lane. So all that hope that Victory 5 have of getting a trade, getting Elder Dragon, doesn't have too much time to it as well. But man, what team fight can you pick up when a Baron buff Rogue Warriors also have super minions coming down your mid lane?
Nothing much they can do, honestly. Like, they're going to have to wait on Rogue Warriors to walk into one of their engages. They do have this Elder Dragon buff, but it's on a very short duration. Only 150 seconds to find that crucial team fight where they can turn things around. They're within the gold range to do so, but I just don't think with how safe Rogue Warriors has been playing this that they'll ever give them the opportunity. The one word of redemption that I'm looking at right now is that control ward on the left side of the mid lane. However, there's no teleports to utilize it. So it's so difficult to see how V5 are going to get their engage that they want.
This team is powered up. All right, I'm just assuming here that Ezreal in the rune page got himself that 5% extra bit of CDR, so he should be at 45% CDR at this point. You're looking towards the Corki, and he's at full build. So their carries are going to carry. These traps are at least going to stop Rogue Warriors, you would assume, from just taking up top lane turret, but they already have 3 lanes pushing in simultaneously. We're going to be talking about a miracle here for Victory 5 of being able to come back in this game.
And there's not a lot of magic resistance or sustain left on that Caitlyn.
I think my Banshees, bro. You're not taking it off, buddy.
There's a lot of things that Rogue Warriors can do to just win this team fight. I think it's feasible for HuaTian to just even dive and try to trade away that, Y4 right now. The rest of the team's not going to have that much to say about it.
All right, he's a pretty big wave, but we talked about it. The traps are already laid out. They want to fully commit to a lane that has 5 traps waiting for you. Look at the mid lane turret as well. It seems like the mid lane wave is coming in at the same time, and Camille is putting in a lot of work at the bottom side of the map. Let's see, this is going to be the long waiting game you'd expect with 37 seconds of Baron buff still on.
Yeah, and Haro's just waiting for that ultimate refresh. He could try and get another Lux ult, snipe out.
You can use the Banshee's Veil, just going straight through, but already a lot of damage on top of ZWuJi. So to your credit, talking about how Victory 5 still has a lot of damage to their name to be able to stop Rogue Warriors in the tracks. Speaking of damage, yeah, how about we get the redemption down here?
Well done on Max's part, just to keep their team in this position. But as I was saying, Rogue Warriors went out on the poke war as well. They have infinite sustain coming in with that Ocean Drake. And there's no chance of an engage here.
Right. Clearing out the wave. They fully cleared it out, and that cannon minion is now gone. It's going on a trip. But it feels like a pro view experience, because that bottom lane wave is also incredibly important. So we always have to get an eye on how Camille is doing. Not too much. Actually getting pushed out by Mole. So this is getting successfully stalled out by Victory 5.
Rogue Warriors are, V5, excuse me, are coming in with the 3-part plan. First part, we get a kill onto Holder in the bot side, and then we move our pieces to the top side to get something done. But Holder's playing safe enough. He's backing out at all the right times. He knows all he needs to do is just get chip damage here. And once the Elder Dragon falls off, that's when the main course really begins. That's where the big showdown will finally happen. Rogue Warriors, after this, I think they can just 5-man siege and use their 2 Corki and Ezreal poke options to win this. They no longer have to try splitting.
Yeah, they can just group up. Here's a great opportunity. Cannon ultimate on top of him, but Killua saves him. Really not a lot of damage being done, and in fact may be able to turn this one back on Ben 4, so he needs to get out of there to protect his own Guardian Angel. Here's Holder, waiting on a team fight to come through, gets a full burst on top of Windy. So finally, Rogue Warriors are able to get something on the map. That was the one option it felt like Victory 5 had to get the game back into their grasp, and that was a great look from Kennen, but yeah, it got pushed away pretty easily.
That Banshee Veil came up so huge. If he was stunned in the middle of that just a second while longer, a bit more damage being taken on, it would have meant that he was going to die. You have to remember the Tahm Kench is grounded when he devours right now. So good job on the team members from Rogue Warriors to avoid that. And unfortunately for Ben 4, missed the knock up there as well. That could have been a 5v4 they could set up.
Take a look at the items there from ZWuJi. Sold the Iceborne Gauntlet just for that raw AP, my friends. That guy is stacking at the moment. So if we're talking about poke, don't get hit by the 2-piece combo of Ezreal. All right, fully going in there. Y4 should be able to get out of that scot-free, but they're losing this inhibitor. Down goes the bot lane inhib, and so close to going down. Y4 needs to be able to look to protect himself.
Mid lane's wide open as well. Here comes the teleport. This is the do or die moment.
Yeah, looking for anything, anybody. I mean, he's being pulled to both sides, and he's not going to get anything either way. So you said it was going to be do or die. Feels like a lot of die here.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. Let's see if they can find Haro.
Good opportunity, but Tahm Kench ends up saving him. He's getting held in front. This should be the last team fight of the game, we would expect. A lot of damage going down to Holder, but here comes, of course, the redemption. Rogue Warriors getting out scot-free, and in fact, yeah, that bot lane inhibitor is also going down. Added depression to Victory 5.
They can stay there and just take Baron. V5 have to come back, and that's going to give them a good opportunity. but instead it's going to be V5.
Oh no, crucial mistake from Holder, but a lot of damage being put to the Baron side as well. GA being procced, but this is the fight that you want to look at. Seems like it's going to be an all-in. Wait a minute, Holder goes down, but I want to see this damn fight by... Yeah, Kennen actually gets held down. He should be able to die. This is a lost fight for Victory 5. And in fact, HuaTian comes out of this one scot-free, so looks like Rogue Warriors are going to be able to look to at least finish them off. Minions are starting to stack into the base of Victory 5. A lot of them are still alive, but there goes ZWuJi being able to get the kill onto Syndra.
Never back on a control ward.
He's trying to hold them firm. In fact, here comes the teleport. Yeah, HuaTian wants this game done and over with. I don't think Mole is going to be able to help at all. He's going to be tracked, but that's the damage for HuaTian. This should be the game, unless if this... No, this base is not happening either. This is a sad loss if you're Victory 5. Not like this. Thumbs up too. They're also just BMing you outright. And that's the first game to Rogue Warriors.
Well done by Rogue Warriors. So much patience from this young squad. And you could see that they are familiar in playing multiple types of composition. It's not just about the late game.